We're back over here at our PowerPoint slides, and next we're going to talk about making a backup copy of your QuickBooks company file. And you're going to do this potentially for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, you want backup copies in case something happens to your main QuickBooks data file. It becomes corrupted for some reason. You want to have a backup copy. Furthermore, you want to also have a backup copy that's not only just easily accessible on your local computer, but you want to store a backup copy someplace off-site. So if for some reason there's a fire, a flood, some sort of your computer's stolen, then you still have your data and you can, get a new computer, reinstall the software, and then download from your off-site backup copy. So we can, and then they have online backup options as well. And so when you, there are two types of backup files. There's to identify the company, the file name and the company name. The extension that you'll see on the backup copy indicates that this is a backup file. Your main company file extension will be QWO, I believe. So the QBB is the QuickBooks backup. And those are condensed, or compressed, I should say, files. You could not just work from within your backup file because of the way that it's compressed. So in order to access and actually work from your backup file, you must do a restore, and that will uncompress the file and make it usable. And so to make the backup copy, you'll go to your File menu, click Backup Your Company, and then you're going to do Create a Local Backup for this example. And then if you follow Next, then you're going to choose rather than going through all of this, I am going to just stop and do it live on the real version. So here we are, we're at our screen, we go to File, we go to Backup, Create Local Backup, and then we hit Next. And so here we have to tell QuickBooks where we want our backup files saved. And it's assuming that you want it saved on this PC. You can also, if you have external drives that you want to save it to a flash drive, something like that. And this is also a way if you have Dropbox or OneDrive, as you see that I do, this is a way for you to also back up to the cloud. So just for sport, not that you would want to do this, but we'll have it go to my desktop. And we will keep the default. Now add the date and time of the backup. This is particularly helpful because if you need to access your backup file, probably something bad has happened in your world. And the last thing you want to think about is, gee, how old is this backup? I wonder what I may have done since I created this backup. And a good way to figure that out is to at least know when you created the backup. So having the date and time saved as part of the backup file name is helpful. And then we'll just change it and we'll say, although this could be a pain in the neck if you are just going in to look at something, but anyway. What the QuickBooks is telling us here is that they would really like to have this saved someplace else. To a flash drive. Sorry for the commotion in the background. But anyway, so they're basically saying, please back it up to something that won't be also destroyed when your computer is destroyed in some sort of catastrophe. But we'll just make it unhappy. And so you can save it. You can save it now and schedule future backups, or you can just schedule future backups. And so now you see that Lynn's Music Studio, and it has the backup of today, date, and time. And so now we have successfully backed up our company files. And again, this does not back up your program. Also, all this does is save your data. If you are using different companies, let's say you're a freelance bookkeeper, you might have any number of different clients that you have different QuickBooks data here. You have to do this in every data file. So what we did right now was we only backed up Lynn's Music Studio. If we have Joe's Music Studio and Sam's Music Studio, what we did just now will not have touched those. So we would also need to make sure that we're backing those individual company files up every time we close them. So we're back over here at the company files, and now we're going to look at the restore. This is what we need to do if you decide that you want to use your backup and install that because something has happened to your company file. And so the restored copy is going to have an extension of QBW. And so rather than going through the steps here, we'll just go over and restore from our backup. And so here we are in our backup. We are going to restore a company. Now we're going to restore our backup company, which is in our local backup. And it automatically recognizes where we've saved our backups. Now, I could very well have multiple backups in this, and quite likely would have multiple backups, at least 3, because as long as I've used it at least 3 times, I've told it to prompt me every time I close it to do the backup. So I want to make sure that I go to, and just because that's the date modified doesn't always, this tells me for sure when my backup is. And so where are we going to save our restored file? And this is my default directory for my company files for chapter 1. So this is, and we are all good here. And so it's overwriting because I already had a, we'll just go ahead and we'll say yes, because the way that your software developer does it, all of the files that you're downloading are actually considered restored files, I believe. And so it is. Deleting the file that I already had in there by this name. And we go student 1. And there we are. And if I wanted to do this, I could have backed it up with a different name just so you could see that what actually opened here was the restored file instead of the original file I had been working with, but I'll remember to do that next time. And I'm not going to go through this slide because this is basically what we just did in the demonstration, so you can pause this here to read this if you choose to do that. And we'll have to record checks, which we don't. And so I have a few slides left in this chapter, so we might as well just power through with this video rather than switching over. Now we're going to change the name of the company file so that, and this is part of one of your week 1 exercises, so we may as well go through and do this with the file that's currently been restored. So I'm going to pause here and jump over and show you how to do this. Now we're going to be doing this from the company information menu. So That will be a new thing. So now we're back to our live version, and we will go to now our company file. Go down to My Company, and we've got Lynn's Music Studio, and we are going to click on this little pencil icon here to make that change. And so that gets your name into the file name, which is particularly helpful for me if I'm working with students to make sure that I have the student's name within the file name of the company file, just so I can keep straight what I'm working with. Now, QuickBooks, as just kind of an aside, will do periodic updates, and they will do it both from a software side, but also if you have payroll installed. This is particularly helpful if something changes in the payroll laws and the tax tables change. You will get updates delivered to you, and so you want to make sure that you download those so that you can make sure that you're running the most current version of QuickBooks. And so to make sure that you've got all your updates downloaded, you're going to press F2 or Control and the number 1, and that will get you to the product information window. And then you can then review and see where you're at in terms of what version that you're operating on. And then lastly, QuickBooks will automatically save, and basically anytime you make an entry, it's going to prompt you to save it or save and exit what you're working on. So you're going to be saving your stuff automatically. And then it will prompt you to back up as you exit, depending on whether you've set it to prompt you to do that every time or every second or third or whatever time. So we'll just hop over to the live version to wind this up. And so here we're back on the live version. And before I exit out of this, and again, I will show you, let's see, Control 1 gets us to our product information, and you can see everything there. And then, but before I exit, something that has confused students in previous semesters, so I'll take this opportunity to just address this. The backup and restore feature that we just used, you're going to be prompted to backup, restore, change the name of your company file with every assignment that you do through this book. And students often become confused. They don't know why they're having to do this. And the reason that you're doing this is that you want to preserve your original company file that the publisher gave you of QuickBooks, so that if you happen to make a really horrific mistake in your homework and you just want to scrap it and start over, that you have a fresh, clean company file that you can download and use instead, and just scrap the one that you made all the mistakes in, because sometimes trying to go back and undo the mistakes to figure out where you should have gone left when you went right or something is more of a hassle than just starting from a clean slate. So this is why you're going to be prompted to download, create a backup, restore the backup, change the name, and work from that copy, so that you're preserving your original data file in case you need to go back and have a clean copy to go from. So now we're going to file and exit, and it will prompt me to make my backup if I want to do that. I'm not going to worry about it now, but that concludes the Chapter 1 video lecture of QuickBooks.